I am here to help reestablish the divine feminine in the world. Thank you for joining me. If you want to learn more about the divine feminine, how to use it in your life, how to be a healer, how to access other realms, then this is the place. Today, we're going to be talking about the divine feminine. Now, last week and the week before, I was wanting to share belly dancing with you all. However, I just remembered that I don't particularly like belly dancing on camera or in front of the computer because I really want you all, when I teach belly dance, I'm bringing all of myself. I'm bringing the entire my entire energy field, and I'm expanding to access as timelines where I did belly dance as a priestess, as a sacred practice, timelines where maybe I existed in another place, another time, another time frame, so to speak. And the music, the vibration from the music, when I teach outside, which I've started to do a lot lately because I loved to be able to combine nature and dance because those are like my core those are like my core things. Dance, music, nature, all of it is really a reflection of the divine feminine. It expresses the divine feminine, and it can express the divine masculine too, and anything in between. However, the universe was created and everything exists with a particular vibration. Every plant, every piece of clothing, every human body, every cat body, dog body, every body has a particular sound, hum, or vibration to them. And when I'm teaching belly dancing, I'm bringing all of those consciousnesses, multiple consciousnesses, the multiple consciousness to bear. And that is really the way I love to teach. I love to do it in a circle and where women can connect to each other and where I can connect. So I realized doing it online, it's just not quite the right fit for me. It's not quite the right fit. I think in part I'm actually transporting myself to a timeline when they didn't have computers. When I'm belly dancing, I'm actually transporting myself, I think, on a certain subconscious level to another timeline, as I mentioned, another space where the dance itself was a dance not only with the women that you were dancing with, but with the earth, with the energy of the earth, with the sun, with the music, with the vibration, and so that dance is something that I really want to share in the context of a community of women. When a community of women get together, it is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So, so that's what we're doing today. We're looking at the divine feminine and how belly dance actually is a part of that, and also how to get beyond where you might be feeling some limitation. Okay. So before we get started, I want to pull a card from the Oracle deck that I created. I created the African Starseed. Good morning, Jen. Good morning. Thanks for joining me. I created the African Starseed Oracle deck. Can you hear me, Jen? Jen Beyond. This is the Oracle deck that I created, the African Starseed Oracle deck. And okay, great. And so I'm going to pull a card before we get started, and I want to share this poem that I heard on Instagram, and it's just such a lovely phrase. And this is actually kind of launching what I'm planning to do, which is called "Give Her a Minute." "Give Her a Minute" is going to be a short and sweet time for pause and reflection for women. So this will be the first installment of that. It's an idea that I had a while ago, and I guess sometimes ideas come, and I think I need to act on them right away, and actually It actually is not supposed to be right away. It's going to be later on when the timing is right, when all the stars are aligned. Um, so let's pull a card to see what is present for those of us who are here today. Jen and my friend Yvette was here. She just was helping me to test things out. So I think she's gone now. But anyway, let's pull a card to see what's present, what we should be thinking about. And then whoever sees this later is also going to be relevant. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so this is the card that came up. Astarte, Warrior Priestess, Change. Now, this particular card I put in the deck because it's reflective. It's reflective of, oh, I'm so glad that you're joining from Austin. So it's reflective of a life that I recalled about myself. So I do quantum healing hypnosis and have connected to multiple various lives that I've lived or am currently living in other timelines. And the Astarte Warrior Priestess was a card where I was a leader in a community of women when we had the whole city and multiple communities that we oversaw, and we were in the midst of war. And so I was a priestess, a warrior priestess. And what I realized from this life is, at first when I first recalled part of the life, I recalled it with some fear and anger. And then once I actually went through the regression and went through the to the end of that life, I realized that it the temple fell, the temple that I was supposed to protect, that I was there to protect, it fell. And I went on to have another life where I wasn't fighting, where I was with my beloved, my husband. We married, we raised children that we rescued from the war, and we were able to hold on to some of the teachings of the community that we were a part of. And life is about change. It was time for that way of being to change. Even though, sometimes people, I think, romanticize the divine feminine in the time when God was a woman, which, did actually exist when actually the leaders of communities were women, and and the woman was looked at as the divine expression of the creator. And there's a book called When God Was a Woman, which I highly recommend, that talks about different communities and how the divine feminine fell. And what I'm adding to that is that on the earth and in each life, we're always giving and receiving. Um, we're always wanting to experience the fullness of any particular life situation. So if you were a leader, then maybe in another life you want to experience being a follower. If you were a spiritual leader, then maybe you want to later on experience being a devotee who is following the leader. If you were a warrior, then maybe in another life you want to experience being someone who encourages peace. So if you and it's one example of this is a real life example. So there's a woman, one of my neighbors. When I first met her, she was actually taking care of her husband, who was a veteran and he had some physical ailments. He didn't drive, and she was totally responsible for him. He passed away a few years ago, and now she has lost her sight, and now she needs someone to take care of her. So she, in this life, was able to experience what it feels like to be totally responsible for someone who's incapacitated, and to be the person who's incapacitated and taken care of. So what this card is talking about is that type of change, that even though one reality exists now, it's you can trust and believe that there will be a change. The only thing that we can really trust in this life is change. that there will be a change. That's something that Octavia Butler talked about in her book, some of her books. I can't recall that quote, but everything you touch, you change. Everything you change changes you. So change is one of the core concepts of life, especially on on the earth. And that's what that card's about. So change. So wherever you are in your experience right now, be open to a change. Be open to things shifting, because that's what's important for us. And so this, and it really goes into this poem that I want to read. I don't know if I don't know. I'm just going to try to play it. Let me see. Can you hear this?
When even your
Jen, can you hear
dreams
this?
are crumbling stones. When everything you dare to touch is set on fire and all around you is ash and smoke. Remember this. Rock bottom is a perfect place for rebuilding. Remember that you are your mother's daughter, your grandmother's answered prayers, a whole bloodline of women who bend in response to raging winds. There is nothing broken here. Nothing damaged or discarded. Each scar is a badge of honor, every misstep a victory dance waiting to happen. You are a woman becoming, learning the complicated language of forgiveness, the intricate lessons of the universe, and your heart is just a muscle. It needs exercise. You were born for this sort of heavy lifting. You were born one part saint, one part warrior woman. Loving yourself without shame is the most important thing you will ever have to fight for.
So I love this poem. I just love this poem. I mean, and the whole notion that, yes, I'm a spiritual person, or well, I'm interested in spirituality, but the reality of life is that you let me turn this off. The reality of life is that we are always going to have challenges, and the challenges are designed to strengthen us. And I will definitely share the link to the poem. Um, I will definitely share that link. So the challenges in the when I do the show notes, I'll share the link. But the name of the person who did the poem, and I tagged her on Instagram. Let me see. Titilope Songe. I don't know. This is the person who did the poem. Titilope Songuang. I can't pronounce the name, but I'll share the link to it too. So that's the poem. And what's important is that we realize again that change is imperative. I mean, one of the things I wanted to do is see myself as a warrior, see myself as strong and capable, and I wanted to see that life. That's necessary too. And the real challenge, the real mastery, the real strength is in being able to, in the face of challenges, still move forward. And I'm likening that concept to the last last 2 weeks that I tried to go live, and and it didn't work out. And then even today, last week I had some people who were waiting to join me, but I'm really kind of testing this to make sure I got the right kind of mixture. But it didn't work out, and the first day I sent an email to my list saying that I was feeling that I didn't really want to be seen because I had picked up weight. I picked up weight. And it's not that I've picked up weight so much, because my body is still beautiful in the way that it has been able to maneuver the excess weight. The thing that made me feel challenged is in realizing, as I've been doing some shadow work, what is held in the weight that I've been holding. Like, I gathered this weight during a time of grief and trauma, and I got kind of stuck in that. And so the grief and trauma are held in within the weight. And so I when I was said, okay, I'm going to go and belly dance. I'm like, ah! I love belly dancing. And when I can teach in person, I just love it. And after I finish it, I'm just so uplifted. And I believe that most of the people in the class are uplifted too. And that's something that I'm going to be doing in the retreat. So I'm doing a retreat to Ghana in October of this year, October 20th through the 28th. And the so at the retreat, I'll be able to just give everything, to give you the dance, to give you the history of the divine feminine, the history of the dance, and be able to help us connect to our ancestors there and embody the divine feminine so that you can move forward in wherever phase you're in, whether you need to restore yourself from working a full-time job and taking care of a family, being a wife, or whether you need whether you're a healer who wants to activate further your healing gifts. That's what this retreat is going to be about. So anyway, so this is a step forward for me. I haven't done this type of retreat before. So when it was time for me to go on camera and I was, thinking about the shadow work and the things that are held in this excess weight, I was thinking, oh my goodness, this is the problem that I'm this that all my slip is hanging, that all my stuff is showing, that people can see my vulnerability. And and that week was uncomfortable. Then the next week I had some technical difficulties. However, because I'm a warrior, I'm one part warrior woman and one part saint. I'm here again. I'm not going to do the dance because there's just too many technical things to work out that aren't worked out yet. But I do want to come forward and be here. So all of that is true. Like the feelings of my slip hanging and things being shown, and the sadness and the grief and the sense of loss, and the people that have moved on from this plane who are not here with me, and how that has really, I've been trying to hold on to them in their death. And so now this is the time for me to be able to connect with them in joy. And that's part of what the trip to Ghana is about, because my father's ashes are buried in Ghana, and I have not yet been able to go there. They were taken there in the 1990s, and I was supposed to go, but I just didn't feel it. I just didn't want to go, and I guess I'm realizing now that maybe I didn't want to go because then it was really real. My father's death sparked my spiritual awakening, and I've existed in that in between, that liminal space between him being alive and him passing. And so to actually, I don't know exactly why I didn't go, but now I'm going to go to the site where his ashes are buried in Ghana. And that's a whole thing, because the community that he was a part of has dismantled. And I did another video on my channel about this, but it's like a whole big thing. And I'm ready now. I'm ready now to step forward and actually see what's actually there, see the space where his ashes are buried, and see him as being a part of of the earth there. And it's just so it's a process. It's like, even though I'm emotional, I'm an emotional person anyway. I'm an empath. I am empathic. So um, this whole time is a time in life where I am expanding. And part of the expansion is looking at some of the things that may have limited you. And once you can look at those things, then you're free to expand. And so now that I'm looking at those things, I'm free to expand to being in to being in Africa, being in Ghana, and sharing the divine feminine through this retreat in this way. So that's my thought for today. That's to give her a minute. So, okay, good, Jen. I hope you can go to Ghana. Um, yes, vulnerability. I used to try to avoid appearing vulnerable. My mother would tell me try to avoid appearing vulnerable, but I'm like, why? When I had to um, put my ex out of the house, and he was back, and I was nervous that he was around. And my friend said, "Don't you cry. Just stand up there and don't let him know that you're upset." I stood there. I I cried and I still stood strong. So I can feel all of my emotions and still stand strong, which is what I did for him. And I am a Leo. I'm a Leo with a Scorpio moon. So I'm a fire sign, but I have a lot of water, and I have a lot of water too. So okay, that's it for me. Happy Mother's Day to you, Jen, and to everybody who sees this. I hope this is a wonderful time for you. If your mother is no longer with us on this plane, as mine isn't, I hope that you can feel like that loving touch. Sometimes my mother comes to me, and I know that she's there because I feel like a little tingle on my cheek or somewhere near my mouth. So I know that she's around. And even in her death, so to speak, she has been so strong in my life. So I hope you can remember your mother in a loving way in whatever context she has been in your life. All right. Be well. All right. Take care. Peace.